On another thing, tensions are high between police and the African American community. Is there a solution? In a moment, we will talk with some of the area's top police officials. A famous local chef wants to make high school cafeterias a little more elegant and a little more healthy. And my commentary on Tom Brady's football shrinkage. But first, our focus today is on policing in black neighborhoods. Since the death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and Eric Garner in Staten Island, the issue has filled the streets with protests and has dominated media coverage and conversation. Ellen Kolodziej now begins our coverage by talking to a police chief who was once one of Philadelphia's most famous detectives. Ellen.
First, we saw the riots after Ferguson. Then we saw the so-called die-ins after Staten Island. Both happened after a white police officer was not indicted after the death of a black man. Then we saw the horrific assassination of two New York City police officers simply for wearing the uniform. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani said that happened after months of propaganda, he says, starting with the president, that told everybody to hate the police.
I believe that the President and the Attorney General of the United States did not do the police any favor by their coming out publicly and talking about the police are racist or the police are brutal or we got to do something about the horrible police. Where do people go if the police don't support them? There would be total chaos, there would be total anarchy, and there would be total crime-ridden communities.
Upper Darby Superintendent Michael Chitwood has been a police officer for 50 years, and he's deeply disturbed by the perception many Americans have of the police right now. But he's overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from people in his neighborhoods.
I'm not seeing an anti-police mentality in Upper Darby. However, I also have alerted my officers to be careful because of this negativity that's being portrayed in the media. I see it. I mean, it's real. I mean, you can see the numbers of people who are out there.
President Obama has since started a national task force to help with the relations between the community and police officers. He tapped Philadelphia Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey to head up that committee, but no one from the Philadelphia Police Department is available to talk to the media until at least March. But here in Upper Darby, the police officers on the streets every day are more than happy to talk about it.
I don't think it could ever hurt. And I think, especially, I know Commissioner Ramsey from Philadelphia is on that task force, and he's very well respected among the police community.
I just want there to be more education with the community so they can understand what police officers go through. And I think the dialogue is great. We're able to get people talking about what's important to them and also have them see what's important to us so they can have a little bit more understanding for why we do the things that we do.
Attorney General Eric Holder was recently in the Philadelphia area doing a roundtable on police relations. And President Obama has said he wants concrete suggestions to come out of this national task force within 90 days. Police officers here in Upper Darby and around the country say they're confident something positive will come from this. Reporting for Another Thing, I'm Ellen Kolodziej.
All right, Ellen, thank you very much. Let's talk more about this with Selma Morris, who is with the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, Central New Jersey chapter. She is the vice president of that chapter, and also Ernie Parrey, who is the police director for the city of Trenton, New Jersey. Two cases specifically, the Michael Brown case in Ferguson and the Eric Garner cases in Staten Island, has pushed the issue of policing in African American communities to the forefront of issues in America. It might be the number one issue now because of all the protests. Is that fair, Selma?
Is it fair that it was pushed to the forefront?
Is it fair that it now is at the forefront from these cases?
Yes.
And why do you say that?
Because the issues need to be addressed. With the cases coming to the forefront, that the most recent cases, it's causing a lot of unrest between the two. And the issues have to be worked out.
So even, because I would argue that these two cases aren't perfect cases, that these two cases involve people that were breaking the law and didn't respect police when they first came up to them. So they're not perfect cases to use as examples of bad policing. However, it may uncover a bigger problem. Do you agree with that?
I think you got to look at it a case-by-case basis. with respect to departments nationwide. One of the big things that we've experienced is, you've had these two cases, they've come to the forefront, but it's laid everything on the table nationwide. It's been a broad brush. Our organization, for example, we are working to partner with the community. And that's a big thing. The community wants involvement with the police, and the police need the interaction of the community. That's the only way policing is going to succeed in the 21st century.
But this is happening now with this foundation of mistrust. I would think that now police officers are held in a worse light than they were a year ago. And it's going to be more difficult to have that community policing just because of the protest and because of the attention these cases have gotten. Is that right?
Well, I would agree that the police may be held in a worse light now, but that's not every police department. It's not in every community. Okay, and the communities that do have good relationships with the police, African American, or other communities where there's a difference in maybe cultures, they don't get the good publicity for good relationships.
And you don't think those departments are affected by the national publicity? It's not tougher to be a police officer now because of what's happening nationwide?
Oh, sure. I think it is, absolutely. I think people are looking, in essence, through a microscope. But with that being said, I think like Selma said, there's a lot of communities out there that have this.
Even though you both seem to say that there are some problems, has the problem been blown out of proportion?
I think it's been elevated to a level just based on what's going on with the media. I don't think all of the facts have been put out.
Has the media been irresponsible?
I think they have. I really do. I think they have. I don't think enough of the information has been put out. And some of that, could you blame some of that upon whether it be the prosecutor's office or whomever? Are they not offering enough information? I don't know for certain, but absolutely, the media is only getting out the negative aspects of what went on with these two cases.
I'm trying to figure out what cases get national attention and what don't. Why did Michael Brown and why did Eric Garner raise to the level of getting this national attention? And we've had a couple of cases here recently, one in New York City with an Asian police officer who killed an African-American male, and for no reason. He claims his gun went off accidentally in the stairways. No national attention. We have a case now in Bridgeton, New Jersey, where a guy was getting out on video with his hands raised, is shot dead. It's not getting any national attention. Is that because it wasn't a white officer? That it was an Asian officer in New York and it was a black officer in Bridgeton? Does it have to be a white cop? So is this really all about race and not so much about policing?
I think it depends on the community, how much attention they want to bring to the issue.
Well, no, because I see. It starts I get what you're saying. So it starts locally and then it grows nationally. But in Bridgeton, there's been protests, and the national media is not coming down there. Does it have more to do with it has to be a white police officer?
I think, not to cut you off, Selma, I think race does play a part. I think it does.
And it's the media that wants to go in on that, right?
I think the media capitalizes on that. I think the media goes out and that's where the aspects of it get sensationalized. If there is a problem, the problem needs to be addressed. And there are underlying problems. We can't turn a blind eye to it. There are issues with the representation of the police departments within the various communities, and there has to be that they have to co-join, and they have to be able to work together. And a lot of that stems from folks just not trusting because maybe the officers aren't from their community.
And that's the basis of it, isn't it? Trust and respect on both sides. And we'll continue on this topic. We're going to bring in somebody from the Asbury Park Press who has been the lead reporter in a series of reports they've been doing, which is a great service to the community, called Conversations on Race. And they recently had a town hall meeting on this. The reporter is J. Scott Smith, and he's up next.